Hello, true art believers, and welcome to today's live art stream. This is Pierson here. I am the #1 live art streamer in the world, and you are watching day 215 of 300 days of drawing. Got a piping hot set, a brand new set of clouds for you. We're going to begin today's drawing process, and we'll see what happens. All right, let's begin. All right, so what I typically do on these days is I have been, there we go. That's the thing I want to do. Is I've been doing multiple days on the same image here, and all I've been doing is just doubling the size of the canvas. So basically, I have an 18 by 22 inch canvas now, and on this bottom area right here, I'm just going to do some clouds. So this is what I'm going to do for the next drawing session. We're going to do some clouds right here, and we're just going to go at it. We're just going to go at it right now. So today we're going to kind of I'm going to try something a little bit different than from my normal drawing strategy, and that's going to be doing. What am I going to be doing today? Well, I'm going to be, let's do some like curvy forms. Let's do a few curvy forms. That one's a little large, but maybe do it like an angular form on this one. Maybe do like an angular form with a curve on it. And then let's do some other one. Let's do like a curve with a straight angle. All right, so we're gonna do 3 clouds at this point, and then maybe add more later. Maybe add like a 4th one right here, just for good measure. Looks kind of like a sword, and maybe even add another one, kind of like this. Let's do like a atypical thing. And what I'm gonna do different this time is I'm gonna pretend that I'm doing like creating bubbles. So I'm gonna be on the same layer. I'm gonna just like add various size bubbles around here, and that's gonna be used as the basis for the overdrawing, the final drawing, whatever you would call it. And so this is what I'm going to use as kind of like a starting point. And I'm going to see how this works in relation to the other strategy. I don't know if I don't know if I like it already. Like, because after just doing this, it kind of seems weird. It feels like I'm doing like just a large bead and a small bead, a large bead and a small bead. And I don't really know if I like that. So we're gonna do it this time and see how it goes, and then maybe I'll continue the process more, or maybe I won't. Again, this is just the underdrawing for these cloud shapes, and we're not going to use it as the final form, but it's going to be a guideline. And I don't know if it's going to yield something that I don't know if it's going to yield fruit, but I'm going to try it out and see how that reacts. I'm going to do it for about 30 minutes. So maybe if I do like a medium circle and a large circle, and do like 2 small ones, and maybe a medium circle, and then two mediums, and maybe a large one or something, and then small one, then small one, or yeah. So I don't know how this is going to react. I don't know if I like this strategy. I saw someone do it, and maybe I need to pay a little bit more attention to it as a drawing strategy. But I don't know if it's going to be a good like drawing technique as far as I'm concerned, but we'll see. Again, just drawing various circles here, and they're going to be used as a guideline and not necessarily a direct translation. So what I'll probably do is I'll turn down the opacity of these and see where it takes me. So I'm kind of being a little bit more loose, although I have like a pattern kind of being made here where I go large, medium, small, small, large, small, small, large. And I don't know if I think this might be problematic with this technique, is because I might start establishing some sort of like pattern with it. So now that we have that drawn out, we're going to kind of just go and turn down the transparency on this layer specifically. And we're just going to use this as a guideline for my forms here. It's not going to be the overall basis, right? And so already maybe there might be some merit to it. Maybe not. I don't know. We're going to see what I come up with. I might have to do it a few more times to really come up with a strategy that might work for it. So this is all new. I'm just experimenting with various cloud techniques. I think next week, after I get a few more video studies or video, after I watch a few more videos and get more of an understanding of how other people are creating clouds, I'm probably going to start doing some clouds that are more realistic in approach, or at least more fluffy. I know that the title of today's live stream is, I call them fluffy clouds, but they're more like bubbly. I would call them bubbly clouds. So I might just call them bubbly clouds, I think, today's session. So today is more like bubbly clouds as opposed to like fluffy. So as you can see, how I'm translating it is really, it's not bad. I was a little worried. That I would okay. I'm even more worried right now because I'm having my computer Photoshop glitch out on me. So I got to save it, and then I got to close it out and reopen it. Photoshop, you got to step up your game, dude. You got to step up your game, man. You're paying. I'm paying for this service, and here I am having a glitch, and you got to step up your game. That shouldn't happen. Apparently, this happens a lot. Apparently, they had it. I don't have enough experience with Photoshop to really talk about it in depth, but a lot of professionals were saying yeah, they had an upgrade, and then now it just crashes, and that used to not be the case. So you got to step it up. This for us poor artists here, paying for a Photoshop service, and it's literally locking out on a line drawing. You need to step up, friends. So as you can see, I think there is some merit to it. Now, what kind of merit, I don't know. So these are more like bubbly clouds than fluffy. So fluffy clouds would probably be something that you'd see in when if I were to use like an airbrush or some sort of brush. Yeah, so here we go. And yeah, just playing around, always having fun. And you may be wondering why I torture myself by doing one topic for 300 days. I think because it's going to it's like it is kind of like torture. Like it's doing something that you don't necessarily have any. This one looks like kind of like a caterpillar, or a caterpillar with or it looks like an ear. If this was looks like a koala caterpillar, right? There's a nose here, and there's some feet or something, like a weird creature caterpillar shape. No, I don't know why I'm doing clouds. It's just something that I thought would be able to translate into something quite beautiful. And I think in the future, when I get really good at them, or when I get more adept at them, there's going to be some fruit that's going to be yielded from it. But right now, it's just kind of there's a lot of bad stuff just being made, and that's fine. You got to accept that there's going to be days where your work's not going to be great. But there's certainly other things I'd like to be drawing. I guess what I wanted to do, I thought that when I started doing clouds, I thought that I'd be able to do a cloud drawing a day. And I'll probably get to that point sometime around the halfway point, like around the halfway point where I've logged in a substantial amount of cloud drawings. I think that's where I'll probably pivot and move towards like doing cloud drawings of like one cloud drawing per session. I thought I'd be finishing one every session, and so that's why I decided that to do clouds because I thought that I would be able to accomplish a cloud every drawing session, and it just turned out that that wasn't the case, you know. And my bad. So maybe in the future I'll be able to change that. All right, so we're on the last one. This is the one reason why I wanted to do only three because I knew that three, five tends for me it take to for me to, okay, I'm stuttering. Um, I knew that five would be getting in around the 15-minute mark, you know, and I didn't want to do five kind of essentially sketches. I wanted to get closer to a more of a more complete cloud renderings. So I think what I'm going to do for the rest of the week is I'm just going to do three clouds because I think that's going to be where I can spend more time on each one. And that's really what I want to do is to spend more time on each one of these clouds. Pretend like this cloud is like wispy. There we go. Now remove those. Now here's our cloud drawings. Now let's kind of work with them. Let's go play around with them. Let's have some fun. Let's doing the using this kind of wider brush, using the same graphite brush here. We're going to basically just make them like stormy looking clouds. We're exaggerating the shadows for effect. Of course, clouds don't typically look this dark unless it's like overcast or like you're in a it's about the rain, right? So I'm just doing this for like just effect so that I can express more value ranges out of each clouds here. So I'm probably going to just kind of do each one throughout as like a step. So each one of these is going to so I'm assuming that this area is going to be darker because it's like in the background, right? So we're just going to kind of do each one here as a kind of a get used to kind of treating these clouds or the way that I render these clouds is in like steps here. So we're just kind of treating these clouds as like their steps, you know? So I imagine around, I'm going to quit doing these real soon here. I don't know. I'm going to quit. I don't know when I'm going to stop doing like the line drawing clouds, but I imagine probably into this week where I'll do like one or two line drawing clouds as warm up or one or two, maybe one line cloud drawing as a warm up, and then after that, I'll move towards doing like clouds that are like more in tune of using like colors. So there are going to be colors. They're going to have background. There's going to be some blues, going to be purples, and all kinds of other stuff happening. And it's not going to just be this type of drawing. All right. So using 25 pixels here. I think I'll go to 30. Yeah, we'll do 30 here. We're just going to make these areas darker. Yes, I would love to become famous. Thank you for the heads up. It's very nice of you. All right, so we're just kind of adding like these arcing forms that could be considered like cast shadow lines. like this, right? And we're just kind of playing around with this idea of shadows and trying to imagine where the shadows are on these clouds here. You know, just trying to play around and have a little bit of fun and not really dwell on them. All right. Like that. There we go. My phone's blowing up. I'm popular. There we go. So the stuff like that, and maybe over here we'll kind of just play around here. So right now, as I'm just doing vertical up and down lines, kind of like hatchings. It's doing lines, up and down lines, to kind of express value. And that's all I'm doing for these at this point. I'm not doing anything fancy. Um, I just don't feel like I need to be doing anything fancy at the moment. Maybe in the future, if I get better or a little bit more skilled, I'll do something a little bit more fancy. But right now, this stuff seems to be doing the trick. Like doing the trick. So I'm just going to maintain this type of strategy throughout. There we go. Stuff like that, and then there we go. Let's kind of do something like this. I'm trying to go a little bit faster than normal and really not focus on like cleaner or more effective lines. So that's kind of nice just for like a fun little cloud. It's a little sloppy here using that mid-tone there, but it's good enough to kind of just move on to the next drawing and see where you go from there, you know? And this area is really dark. I'm just going to assume that this is like a really dark area. Like if this is like a part of a core, like a cloud it's getting darker, and maybe it's about to rain, or maybe the sunlight is right behind it, or something. Maybe like there's a sun right over here peeking over, and it's really really intense shadow. Who knows what the circumstances is? Like that. There we go. It's kind of just doing up and down motions here. Just up and down like motions to create simple little shadow forms. Nothing fancy. We're not really getting fancy with these drawings. Yeah, so I'm trying to breeze through these and see what happens. Yeah, so to some extent, yeah. So I think speed wise, these are on par with my other ones, but maybe they're like even to some extent they're better than my previous ones because they're done in such quick fashion. Just adding like these background clouds to see what happens. Yeah. Let's go over here. Let's kind of work on this one. Just quick up and down motions here. I'm trying to force the speed of this hatching here to kind of get me acquainted to being a little bit more loose with the approach and not kind of dwelling on certain details, because when you're doing sketches you can kind of get into this mode where you find a drawing or you find a cloud or you find an image or something you're working on that is like just like really really nicely done, and you want to like define it more and more. But if you're like on a like crunch where you're trying to, you know, get out more like work in a certain time frame, you want to try to be a little bit more mindful of that and go a little bit looser like this. So I've just been playing around with that and this just taking it easy on it. I don't know if I like doing this gray underdrawing anymore because I think it's kind of ruining some of the cool qualities that you see right here that you can't they're being kind of subdued with that gray back tone, you know? Perhaps if I were to like on these background clouds, maybe if I use that gray tone on the background clouds, that might be something to kind of consider, so that they feel like they're farther away like that. Maybe that might be something to play around with, but I don't know about the ones in the foreground because these nice little hatching marks are kind of getting lost in the translation. And so I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that information. Perhaps I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and then see what happens at the end of the day, you know, and hope for the best. Or maybe do a drawing of a cloud that does the same thing, re- but only have that gray tone in the background clouds to kind of see how they look in relation to the foreground clouds. So all these drawings are just experimentation, and you just want to always be doing something, and something is better than nothing, and anything that I'm doing is always something. So I'm happy that I'm getting something done, even though it's clouds. I'm doing a subject matter that I'm not really like passionate about, and I think there's something to be said about that. I think what this will do is it will make me more passionate about other things, and it will also allow me to improve in something. So now that I've done these cloud, like after I do 100 days of clouds and doing a subject that I'm not really like, you know, passionate or like just like up in arms gung ho about, right? That'll make any something that I'm really excited about doing that much more like you know just valuable or more like uh it'll make it feel much better, right? I'll be more excited over it, and it'll resonate more with me. And so that's one reason why I'm doing this subject matter is because it's not necessarily the most exciting. And if I can do something that's not exciting or become excited about it, just imagine what how I'll do with something I'm really passionate about. And if I'm really passionate about another subject matter or topic, I'm going to spend so much more time on it, or I'm just going to get invest more in time and improving in it, and you're going to see growth and leaps and bounds, or at least that's what I think in theory. I don't really know. I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong multiple times. So we're just kind of doing like like mark making here. What I like doing is a little trend that you see me doing is creating these like kind of like bird-like shapes. They look like flapping birds, and I put them here, and I create like a little shadow, and that helps kind of create like a little bit more form to these clouds. So, or sometimes you'll see me do something like this right here, where I'll do like a half an arc, right, and I'll fill it in, and that's where I'll get some of those forms. And that's a nice little trick to kind of play around with when you're doing these clouds. There you go. Kind of play around with this. I like to think of a lot of clouds don't necessarily have a lot of reflected light in the bottom, so I'm just kind of cheating and doing a single tone all the way throughout. And that helps because if I were to do when kind of break down clouds into two tones. That means I could break them down to three tones, and I could break them down indefinitely. So if I can like visualize clouds in more simple shapes, I think that's going to be beneficial in the future. So this is helpful. I think what I need to start doing in the future is possibly start using more source material. But I'm worried that if I start jumping into using like actual like references, that I'm going to lose, like something's going to get lost. Like I'm going to get way too dependent on the reference material, and I feel like I could end up losing something in the translation later on. So there's some fear in there that I've been trying to kind of tuck away. And that's one reason why I haven't really jumped into using references at this point. I probably should start doing that and see where it takes me. So that might be a thing I might do. Maybe next week I'll do a bunch of line drawings like this, but using references. And then after next week, I'll do a bunch of painted drawings with no references, and then I'll start using references again. So maybe I'll jump back into that. So that might be something to consider doing for future uh, live streams, is start using references to propel your work forward. There we go. So this one's kind of nice. Maybe do something like this. So there's that form again where I did the little bird. Here's the bird form, like the flapping bird, and then the half wing, like the half wing form that I fill in with shade. So that's a nice little touch you can do to kind of create more form with your clouds here. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. This one looks like a boot, like a ski boot, like yeah, it looks like a ski boot, like yeah, it looks like a ski boot, you know, with a whatever ski boots have. They got the. Anyways, it looks like a ski boot to me. That's what it looks like, you know? Right there, a little ski boot. I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Let's just kind of add stuff. Yeah, I'm going to spend like a minute on it, and then we'll kind of call it a day. Maybe this feels right here feels very generic. And I'm not lying. I'm literally going to spend a minute on it and call it a day, because I want to keep these live streams at a short, a short 30 minutes. That way I can kind of just go about my day, because I've been trying to cut down these live streams to a much shorter time frame, simply because it's kind of cutting into a lot of things I need to do throughout the day, and it's really hard to do these live streams. I'm not complaining, but I think there's some benefit to doing them, even though there is a little bit of a flex on my schedule. So sometimes it's been very, very difficult. I've actually done these live streams like at 3 a.m. in the morning because I wasn't able to do them throughout the whole day, and those were rough. Oh my gosh, those were rough because I had work. Okay, so today, as you can see, I kind of like that. I'm going to pursue this idea where I use the light cloud right here, and then have the foreground cloud be a little bit don't have it have that soft tone to it. So I might do that. So today is day 215. 215 out of 300, and that's P21. And that is it, friends. That is it. That is day 215 out of 300. So these are my clouds. Learned a little bit, so I might be doing some things a little bit differently next time, and we'll see what happens. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's live art stream. This is Pierson. I am the number one live art streamer in the world. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Mainly subscribe. Thank you so much. Hope you have a wonderful day. This is Pierson. Cheers.